Hi there, my name is Simon Healy and this presentation is part of the book chapter project for the 2017 Motivation and Emotion class at the University of Canberra. I am going to be discussing how adopting a bias to action can increase productivity and reduce procrastination. I will be covering the following topics. What is a bias to action and how does it work? What is an example of a bias to action? And I will explain how adopting a bias to action can increase productivity and reduce procrastination. The research shows that as human beings, we have an innate tendency to take the less demanding course of action when faced with two or more possible actions. In other words, taking a bias to action is deliberately resisting an impulsive behavior in addition to taking a physical action. So, how does it work? A bias to action works through a number of psychological mechanisms such as the cognitive bias, the paradox of choice, the psychological immune system, and the spotlight effect. What's the catch? The moment you want to change, break a habit, or do something hard or scary, your brain goes to work to stop you. In 2017, one of the leading researchers in this area, Mel Robbins, created what she refers to as the 5-second rule, which is an example of a bias to action strategy that encourages physical action. The science behind the 5-second rule is that you are actually losing the functioning of the part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex when you feel you are lacking control over your life. A bias to action approach can be used to address this. Research shows that people with a high internal locus of control are happier, in better health, and more productive, as well as have lower levels of anxiety and depression. Activation energy means the initial amount of energy needed to start an action is more than that required to continue the action. What does this mean? It means that actually starting a boring or difficult task is much harder than continuing it once you've started. The research into productivity is overwhelmingly clear. Greater productivity is achieved by one simple thing: focus. According to Robbins, there are two types of focus needed to master productivity: managing distractions and focusing on what is truly important in the big picture. Essentially, managing distractions involves identifying and deciding that distractions are not good and then taking action to remove them. In order to focus on what is truly important, Robbins advocates developing a consistent morning routine. Using the steps listed here, Robbins used the 5-second rule in her own life to transform her mornings from panic and chaos to the most productive period of her day. By adopting a bias to action, you can increase productivity by managing your distractions and establishing a productive morning routine. Procrastination is one of the most self-destructive behaviors, as we are deliberately putting off achieving what we desire, and it has a tendency to elevate our stress levels. There are two types of procrastination: productive and destructive. If you are starting on a creative project, research shows that procrastination can be a good thing, as leaving a task aside for a period of time allows the subconscious creative process to develop. Destructive procrastination can be defined as when we avoid the work we need to get done and know that there will be negative consequences. There are 3 steps that Robbins has identified that can be used to reduce procrastination. Firstly, research shows that students who forgave themselves for procrastinating were less likely to procrastinate on their next test. Also, when we picture the future you, it gives you the objectivity to push yourself at the present moment. As procrastination is a habit you have developed, you have to replace the bad behavior pattern, the avoidance, with a positive one, getting started. A bias to action means that you physically take action in a given situation. There are 2 important ways to increase your productivity: managing your distractions and taking control of your mornings. The steps to reduce procrastination are forgiving yourself, channeling the inner you, and just getting started. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this presentation. I hope you have learned some practical skills and knowledge to get more done during your day and strategies to reduce procrastination.